This is Bijoy Pipulpuram. I am a company secretary and insolvency professional. Today, we are going to discuss about the offences and penalties under the Companies Act 2013. The subject is very vast and deep. So I am dividing the subject into 4 different parts. First one will be I am describing about the basic things about the penalties, like what is the criminal aspects of the Companies Act, what is the civil penalties under the Companies Act. In the second video, we will be discussing about the in-house adjudication mechanism under the Companies Act. In the third video, we will be discussing about the compounding of the offences. And the fourth video, we will be discussing about the special courts. So in this video, we will discuss about, as I mentioned, the general matters about the penalty. So we all are aware that Companies Act is one of the significant legislative reform in the history of the corporate India. And the intention of the Companies Act is to bring the global standards to the corporate arena and thereby improve the corporate governance systems of the companies in India. The Companies Act 2013 is executed through different offices under the Companies Act. There are 4 major offices. One is regional directors. There are 7 regional directors in India who are actually having jurisdictional powers on various parts of India. And below them, there are register of companies and official liquidators. And there is a new statutory authority which have been formed under the Companies Act 2013 to deal with the serious kinds of offences. That office is called Serious Fraud Investigation Office. So regional directors, official liquidators and serious fraud investigating officers are the offices through which Companies Act 2013 is executed. So when we are discussing about this corporate governance, why we are discussing about the penalty and what is the importance of penalty under the provisions of the Companies Act? If you see the provisions of the Companies Act, the majority of the provisions contains either imprisonment or civil penalties as a punishment for the violations. So the most important aspect under the Companies Act is that any violations, whether it is inadvertent or otherwise, are punishable under the Companies Act. So you cannot take a shield of inadvertence for the omissions and errors you are making. That famous maxim, ignorance of law is not an excuse but also punishable also. And who is punishable? Every company and its officers in default are liable for penalties or for fine and imprisonment, and in some cases imprisonment only or fine only. So when we are classifying the penal provisions, for the companies there are certain kind of penalties are there. For officers in default there are certain penalties are there. There are certain kind of penalties and fines which are applicable for both the companies and officers in default. These all are depending upon the gravity of each offences. So to understand the penalty more, we have to first understand what is an offence. Offence is not defined anywhere in the Companies Act. But General Clauses Act as well as the CRPC is defining the term offence. Any act or omission made punishable by any law for the time being in force is an offence as per provisions of section 2 subsection N of the CRPC. So there are 2 types of offences again we can classify. It is called compoundable offence and non-compoundable offence. So when we are seeing the liabilities of the Companies Act for the wrongs under the Companies Act, we can generally classify it again into another manner. It is called criminal liability and civil liability. So what is a civil law and what is criminal law? We will see in these slides. Civil law is a law which deals with private disputes or defaults with an objective to resolve or redress and to make good the loss or damage incurred to the other party. So here there is no penal provisions, it is only making good the loss or damage incurred to the other party. Initially this civil law was the major tool, was the primary tool for actually punishing the erring corporates. But sooner or after evolving of the time, it found that depending on the gravity of the offences, the corporates tend to do the criminal activities also. That is how the criminal law also came into the picture as far as the management of the punishment side of the corporates are concerned. So when we are seeing the characteristics of both these laws, civil as well as criminal, both are intended to impose penalty and both are intended to deter the corporate misconduct. There are some key features which are differing in them also. So these are the basic things about the civil law. Now we will see what is criminal law. Criminal law is a branch of law which deals with offences with objective to punish the offender. In the criminal law, it was not intention is to not to punish the offender, it was to make good the loss or damage in good to other party. But in criminal law, it is to punish the offender. So in the criminal law, when a corporate commits a wrong, we have to see whether there is a guilty mind or mens rea behind that act. In the civil law, there is no requirement of a guilty mind or mens rea to be proved, but in criminal law, it is required. And the criminal law requires stronger procedural protections and powerful enforcement devices and requires proof beyond doubt. And higher threshold than the balance of probabilities adopted under the civil law, and criminal law involves severe penalties and severe sanctions, unique sanctions, and it is always deterrent than the civil sanctions. So even though we have civil as well as criminal law, whether it is adequate enough to deal with the corporate misconduct. We know that under the Companies Act 1950s, at the end of that period, by 2012, we have seen that there were many scams, and the prominent one was the Satyam scam, wherein which 8,000 crores has been siphoned out by the company's managing director, and it has been found at later point of time, and that has prompted the government to think about a new act called Companies Act 2013, which contains a lot of stringent imprisonment provisions and penal provisions. But however, even after the introduction of the Companies Act, we have seen the case of Vijay Mallya, we have seen Mukul Choksi, we have seen Sharada, we have seen Sahara and many other scams. So whether these punishments or the imprisonment provisions are adequate enough to protect the investors' interest or to protect the companies from doing wrong things again and again. But finally, when the criminal law is coming into the picture, what is happening? Because of the strong procedural requirements, courts are getting clogged with a lot of number of cases, and it is time consuming. It is always expensive also than the civil provisions. So a corporate as well as officers in default are to be proved guilty, or mens rea to be proved to get punished under this Companies Act. So it is going to be a very time consuming affair to conduct the criminal case under the Companies Act. That is how the ministry had thought about decriminalizing the Companies Act by moving most of the offences from the criminal to civil sanctions. We will study it in the next presentations. So when we are seeing the Companies Act provisions, you can easily identify the offences which are in civil nature, and you can differentiate it from the offences which are in criminal nature. If you see the wordings, liable to penalties under the Companies Act means it is a non-compliance in civil nature. If it is punishable with the fine or punishable with the fine and imprisonment, it is called, we can see that it is a non-compliance which is of a criminal nature. So which law is better, civil law or criminal law? That is a question is actually evolving, which have to be again time proven. Right now we are having more provisions under the criminal laws than in civil kind of penalties. And whether when we are going for the civil law more, the penalties will be more. Whether the excessive penalties under the Companies Act will be counterproductive, will it compel the corporates to move towards other forms of business entities by dumping the Companies Act itself? That is also a question when we are more moving into the civil laws from the criminal laws. So there should be always, it is good to have a balance between the civil law and the criminal law depending upon the gravity of the offense. Now I think the government is more into arriving at the balance by decriminalizing certain acts, moving certain provisions, certain offences into the special courts where serious offences will be dealt with, and moving technical nature of offences into the civil penalty. So we are slowly arriving at a balance or proportionate balance between the civil and criminal laws. Many steps have already been taken by the government to decriminalize it, and there is a long way to go. And one more thing about the offences. When we are talking about the offences, there are two types of offences. One is compoundable offence and another one is non-compoundable offence. So compoundable offence means punishable with a fine only, or punishable with fine or imprisonment, or with both. And non-compoundable offences means there is imprisonment upon conviction, and it comprises of serious offences affecting public interest. So it will be an and condition, fine and imprisonment, or it is an imprisonment. So there is no option to opt out of the imprisonment. That kind of offence are called non-compoundable offences. When we are looking into again another classification is cognizable offence and non-cognizable offence. Cognizable offence is an offence which a police officer has an authority to make an arrest without warrant and to start the investigation with or without the permission of the court. That is kind of serious kinds of offences. And under the Companies Act, section 212 subsection 6 defines about the cognizable offences, and court to take cognizance of offence based on a written complaint from the registrar or shareholder or member of a company. In case of an issue and share transfer agent, the SEBI will be able to make the complaint. So there are certain examples which I can quote about the cognizable offence. One is punishment for fraud under section 447, punishment for fraudulent false statement under section 448, punishment for false evidence under section 449, punishment in case of repeated defaults under section 451, and punishment for wrongful withholding of the property under section 452. These are the basic things about the offences under the Companies Act by bifurcating into different aspects. One is civil law, criminal law. Then we have seen the compoundable, non-compoundable. We saw the cognizable, non-cognizable. So thank you very much for your patient listening. For more videos on the corporate and insolvency laws, kindly subscribe this channel. Thank you very much once again.